Today officially marks the 9-year anniversary of the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise. Dude, I've been a fan of this silly bear game for literally half of my life. That's goddamn insane. But today, to celebrate it, we're gonna be counting down what in my opinion are the top 5 most impactful moments from the FNAF franchise. Now, an impactful moment is a moment where it resulted in a lot happening afterwards, whether within the community or even the franchise itself. It could be good or bad. We're gonna be looking at good impacts and bad impacts today. Thankfully, there's more good ones on here than bad. Before we begin, be sure to subscribe down below and turn on the notification bell. Also become a channel member, all totally optional, but it'd be appreciated if you did. Without further ado, let's get straight in. Happy 9 years to Five Nights at Freddy's. The good ending in FNAF 3 was once the ending to FNAF as a whole. The ending was the conclusion to the story of the 5 murdered children innocent victims from the first 2 FNAF games. After so many years of constant pain and suffering being animatronics, their souls finally get set free and they can move on in peace. Where's the impact? Well, this ending resonated with a lot of people, and it's an ending still talked about to this very day. A lot of people love it and miss it, and even wished it was the end like it was supposed to be. This ending also influences the story beats later games focuses on, like the other spirits, considering that as of this ending, the original Spirit's story ended. It's overall wholesome, and it's in a lot of FNAF fans' hearts, and signifies something beautiful about the series, especially its older days. It's an ending that has had a good impact on the FNAF community, and one nobody can forget. Now, this is an example of a moment that left a bad impact. The Afton or Burn Trap or Mimic ending in Security Breach did significant damage, both to the overall quality of Security Breach in people's perspective and the reputation for the game and even the series' lore. In terms of the quality, people saw it as the ultimate reason to not like Security Breach besides the bugs. It was seen as pointless fan service, especially when the story with Afton previously ended, and that last part about continuing a story that shouldn't have been continued resulted in many people no longer liking the lore of the series and saying it fell off. Some would even go as far as to say this ending ruined Five Nights at Freddy's. Now, some people would say that Security Breach ruined resolved these issues, especially with how to continue Afton's story when people said previously it really shouldn't need to. People viewed the franchise and its lore differently, usually in a more negative way, following this ending, and it's just a shame in all honesty. The minigames are a huge staple of FNAF and its lore. These minigames originated from FNAF 2, and they're the ones that are going to be the main focus of the century. The start of these minigames in the second game really kickstarted a lot when it came to the theorizing side of FNAF. People were already making theories even with FNAF 1, but these minigames made the lore much more relevant to the series, whether that be the origins of the puppet, the first on-screen appearance of William Afton, and the fact that it's revealed he's the killer. There's so many other clues and mysteries behind these minigames too that really made the way for a lot of theories. There are now minigames in basically almost every FNAF game afterwards, even Security Breach with Princess Quest and Balloon World. If you don't consider these minigames important to FNAF and its lore, I don't know what to tell you. These minigames slap, and their impact is insane. Oh boy, this is another huge one. So this is similar to the Afton ending from Security Breach, where I'd argue the impact this moment had was quite negative. To get out of the way, I love FNAF 4. It's probably my favorite FNAF game right behind Help Wanted, but it's undeniable its lore is a mess in certain angles. And look no further than the Bite minigame that happens after you beat Night 5. Besides the fact that Markiplier's reaction to it became a popular meme,
was that the bite of 87?
It really did not so good things to the lore of FNAF. Basically, this is the bite of 83 and not the bite of 87, which for a long time caused many debates in the FNAF community on which one it is. The bite of 83 being the most commonly accepted answer nowadays, but regardless, it complicated things tenfold. The lore became a mess, which of course was a leading cause to what the FNAF lore is today, being overcomplicated and messy in the eyes of a lot of people. People blame this moment for being the reason. It was the moment when the FNAF lore changed forever. The box, of course, didn't help, but I'd argue the bite of 83 still did more damage. It's very unfortunate because I still feel like to this very day, if it was the bite of 87 like Markiplier famously asked,
was that the bite of 87?
It would have been more satisfying as a finale to FNAF for 1 and 2. The lore wouldn't have really gone down such a downward spiral. Maybe it still would have. Sister Location started the whole Will Trap versus Mike Trap business, but this is part of the lore, yeah. It's a shame. Now this This had quite the impact on FNAF and its community. The good ending of Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria Simulator. What was disguised as a tycoon game was actually still a horror game in some aspects, but most of the time meant to serve as the true conclusion or finale to the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise up to this point. There were answers to previous questions like with the puppet, but none of those come up close to the bookend part of the game. Everyone burns and is set free, with Afton being sent to hell. The ending had a positive impact, and that was basically that this ending served as the expectation for how good the FNAF story can be and can get. It serves as a hallmark for what future FNAF games need to strive to be when it comes to its lore. Of course, it could be debated on whether or not it does it successfully, but regardless, people hold this ending to a high standard, and it's the definition of FNAF's peak, its highs. Whenever people start discussions on FNAF and its lore, whether it be talking about how good it is or saying how the lore nowadays sucks or whatever, people usually bring up this ending in a very positive way. For that alone, this ending for Pizzeria Simulator is, in my opinion, the most impactful moment in Five Nights at Freddy's entire history. Cheers to Five Nights at Freddy's, and long live it. Next year, it's going to be a decade at Freddy's.